A lot of people look at eviction and they think of the consequences to renters, the consequences to families who are evicted. And we know that that is a huge important issue because those consequences destabilize families for years and years to come. Evictions also harm local communities who foot the bill in the aftermath of eviction. People who are evicted and displaced during COVID-19 are more likely to need emergency shelter and medical services, which require extensive federal and local resources. They're also more likely to encounter the child welfare and juvenile systems, which all will also require financial resources. The cost of keeping people housed, not only is keeping people housed the humane thing to do, it's also a lot less expensive. A recent report by the Innovation for Justice program and the National Low Income Housing Coalition found that the partial annual cost of letting 250,000 Arizonas become evicted during the pandemic would cost the state $2.5 billion, while rental shortfall is estimated at only 200 to 400 million.
You just quoted some staggering figures, and I can imagine people will hear this and say, but how do we afford that? Where does the money come from to fix that?
So we have some of that rental assistance right now, right? We have billions of dollars in rental assistance, but we have so many barriers to getting that money out. People need a lot of documentation that's really hard for people in crisis to pull together. Sometimes even just having an ID, people with lower income and people of color are disproportionately represented among people who don't have a valid government ID. Also, people usually need internet access, and we know that 25% of our communities of color are accessing the internet solely with their smartphone, and people who are low income are more likely to be smartphone only users as well. And that presents several problems for trying to find resources, trying to find information about the moratoriums and what applies to you, because a lot of these sites are not mobile optimized, and people with lower incomes are not likely to have a lot of data.
The eviction moratorium in Arizona, at least, is coming to a close here at the end of the month. Can you describe to me what you see happening if conversations about how to move forward aren't held right now?
This is the time to be having those conversations. These conversations actually have been happening since COVID started. It seems that every few months we have an eviction moratorium expiring, and all of our boots on the ground community and government leaders who are working tirelessly to provide services have to stop what they're doing, have to stop providing services to people and shift their attention to partly advocating for an extension of a moratorium and partly bracing for impact. What's going to happen if that moratorium actually lifts?
What becomes of these people who are going to potentially be without shelter?
Well, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of Arizona renters who are at risk of eviction right now. Our current shelter systems are already beyond capacity, serving the existing population of people experiencing homelessness. They do not have the capacity to assist all of the people who will be displaced if the CDC moratorium expires. And while we will continue to advocate and push federal leaders to extend the CDC moratorium, Arizona can be doing something here too. Governor Ducey can enact his own moratorium like he has in the past, buy us some more time to get the funding out to landlords to keep those people in their house until we can get everyone back on track and get through the pandemic.
Mackenzie Pish from the Innovation for Justice program at the University of Arizona Law School. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.